don't have any kids with us today, so I'll give it to y'all. So this week is Thanksgiving. How many here are going to celebrate Thanksgiving this week? Most folks, yep. Where do you celebrate Thanksgiving? Anybody? You celebrate at your house? Yes, yes. How many are hosts of Thanksgiving here? A couple? Okay. Where else do we go to celebrate Thanksgiving? Friend? Family? Son's house? I celebrated at my parents' house, which happens to be where I live, so that's convenient for me. My brother and his wife will come join us, and my grandparents as well. There's lovely food at the Thanksgiving table, right? It's a great time of year to be at the table. What is one of your favorite dishes, Thanksgiving? Filling. Turkey.
Green bean casserole.
Candied sweet potatoes.
Green bean casserole.
Green bean casserole. Corn pudding.
Sarah fries apple pie.
Say that again.
Sarah fries apple pie.
Apple pie by someone special. Yeah, mine is mashed potatoes. Yes, which I think I've told before. It's a favorite food of mine. So Thanksgiving is this wonderful time where we gather on the table with friends, with family, and what is the purpose of Thanksgiving? Why do we celebrate it? To give thanks. It's in the name. Give thanks. To give thanks for all that we've received this past year. I invite you to think about some of the things that you're thankful for this past year. Things that may have happened to you, relationships, things you may have received, opportunities that may have come your way, love that others have shown to you in hard times. We all have something to be thankful for. And today, we're going to have our community brunch after worship today. And that too will be an opportunity for us to gather and give thanks for what God has done for this community, St. John's, this past year. Lots of things that we can think about that God has done for us. And so let's give a prayer and give thanks to God. Gracious God, we give you thanks because we know that you give us all that we have. We are here because of you. Help us to keep thankful hearts, that we might go forth into the world blessed, and that we might share those blessings with others. Be with us particularly this holiday, this Thanksgiving. Bless us and our families and friends as we gather to eat. We pray this in your name. Amen. So today's the last day. I'm telling our mission story, the climax. We've talked about so far who we are, God's children, loved, capable of great love. We talked about why we're here, that we're going to be salty, shiny Christians. Remember that? We're going to be salt, help others to bring out their true flavor, figure out who they're really called to be. And we're going to be shining God's light, sharing God's love with the world. And then last week we talked about one of the ways that we do this, that we accomplish our purpose. We talked about building relationships and the way that allows us to discover who we are and discover who others are. Gives us the opportunity to work together to share God's love. And today we're going to talk about creating community. We're going to talk specifically about creating community around the table. Now, St. John's has a rich history of gathering around the table. Food is important to us here at St. John's, right? Yes. There's those fall and spring dinners. I never actually went to one, but I've heard lots about them. People gathered in the activity center. They were cooking together, serving together, and then the community would come, right? And everybody would eat around the table, fall and spring. What was the menu for the fall and spring dinners? Roast beef? Is that it? Ham. Good meaty Pennsylvania touch dinners. Got your meat. And we have also our Friendship Fridays, right? Where we gather every couple of months members, friends are all invited to come meet at a restaurant locally and to get to know one another a little better around the table, share food, break bread. We also have our campfires, which we offer to the youth, and anybody really can come, sing songs, and then there's always waffles and ice cream. Yes, waffles and ice cream to be eaten around the fire. We don't do marshmallows here, we do waffles and ice cream. We have all of these different social events where we gather around the table and get to know one another.
Don't
And then, of
forget
course-
the senior group.
Yeah, and the senior group, don't forget them, those
Don't
55 plus group. Yeah, they're always bringing snacks. Whenever they're at the activity center, that's where my offices are. They're always right next door, and there's always snacks.
We're going out.
Snacks for all. And then, of course, after worship, today we'll have the community brunch, but usually we have our fellowship time after worship. Snacks always there for folks to get something to eat, get to know us better if they're visitors or here for the first time, to reconnect with people that we know really well, rebuild those relationships. And then, of course, there's the opportunity to serve through food, right? Every week we have the basket up here, although today it's over at the activity center. And we gather food for the food pantry, right? We had Sally last week talk to us about the way in which that pantry makes a difference in our community and how they depend on us for our donations and support. Then we also have every year in fall we do our loaves and fishes dinner, and this year we did spaghetti. And the loaves and fishes dinner is open to anybody in the community. Folks who are lonely come to be with friends. Folks who are in need of a hot meal come to eat. And everybody gathers around the table and we serve them whatever it is all of you have prepared. And then we also this year did a fireman's dinner, spaghetti, and as a way of giving thanks for the service that they do for our community. And then, of course, there's the block party, right? And you might not think of food when you think of the block party, but that's what I think of. I think of walking tacos and that waffles and ice cream again. And then this year we had grilled cheese, a new debut. And of course we invite food trucks and Rita's Water Ice and the fire company that comes and makes burgers and hot dogs. And the food is an opportunity for us to interact, and it's also a way of raising money to help our neighbors who are in need, who are just like us. Food is important. Gathering at the table is important. You could say it's central to our identity, to our purpose even. One of the key ways that we share love and get to know one another. And that's very fitting, because food is at the heart of Jesus' ministry too. Today, he gathers around the table with Pharisees, those who are high up, well-respected, well-regarded, educated, privileged. A couple weeks ago, he gathered around the table with Zacchaeus. Do you remember who he was? A tax collector. And then he's often accused of, Jesus, eating and drinking with sinners, prostitutes, outsiders, those who others would be ashamed to be seen with. He gathers and breaks bread with them. Jesus eats with everybody, essentially. He's down for a good time to gather around the table. And Jesus, he feeds people just like we do. The 5,000, when they're gathered and he's teaching, and nobody has anything to eat except for those, what? 5 loaves and 2 fish. And Jesus multiplies it so that everyone gets fed. And then he also uses food to comfort. After he dies and he's been raised, he gathers with the disciples on the beach, and they have a breakfast of freshly caught fish and bread. And they realize that they're with Jesus. It is the Lord. The meal is central. It is around a meal. The climax of Jesus' ministry takes place. On the eve when he will be betrayed, he gathers with his closest friends, his disciples, much as we will, a couple days hence. And they celebrate a special meal that has particular importance for the history of their people, the Passover meal, a meal about freedom. And Jesus gives this meal a new meaning. He uses this meal to create community with his very body, his flesh, and his blood. And it is through his body that we are knit together. And we will gather around that same table, celebrate that same meal. We will remember, and we will be knit into Jesus' body through his flesh and his blood, the bread and the wine. This is one of the most powerful tools that we have as Christians to create community around the table, at Holy Communion, at our community brunch, all of these different ministries we talked about, Thanksgiving in a couple of days. When we're at the table, it's always an opportunity to build relationships, to welcome. Because giving a meal is about inviting and sharing. It's about inviting those who have felt far off to come near. It's about inviting those who have felt lonely to come and be with. It's about inviting those who are hungry to come and be fed. And it's about sharing what we are privileged to receive with those who need it. This is the ministry of the meal. And as we share, we're blessed. So let us give thanks to God for the blessing that we will receive at Holy Communion, the blessing that we will receive at community brunch, the blessing that we will receive at Thanksgiving, and the meals. We could go on naming more and more, but the blessings that we're always receiving when we're gathered around the table for one another and from God.